A wave of fear is actually striking Miami's booming construction industry, and over the past 72 hours, it's really gotten bad. A new law took effect July 1st that seeks to criminalize undocumented immigration in the state. The law, signed by and supported by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, makes it a third-degree felony for people to knowingly use false identification to obtain employment. Florida's tourism, construction, and agriculture businesses are already reeling from this new law as migrant workers have begun fleeing the state. What does Cuban-American Miami Mayor and 2024 GOP presidential candidate Francis Suarez have to say about this? Francis Suarez joins me live now on the Claman Countdown. Welcome, Mayor. Your father, Xavier Suarez, was born in Cuba and later became mayor of Miami. You know that immigrants can be great contributors to American society. It is in very much part a reason this country is so great. What do you make of this new law, and what effects are you seeing already from it?
Well, as you said, I'm very proud of my father. He got a full scholarship to university. He got 2 graduate degrees from Harvard, and he's written about 9 books and speaks 5 languages. So he is definitely the quintessential immigrant success story in America. Listen, there's no doubt that the law is having an adverse impact on small businesses in our state. Not too dissimilar from, the fight that the governor had with Disney, which is impacting jobs in our state. Look, I think we've got to focus on real solutions to big problems. Immigration is a massive problem. I just came back from Iowa. I was there yesterday for July 4th. And carpenters there are telling me all they want is to have a rational, legal immigration system so that they're not competing against people who are operating under a different set of rules. They have absolutely no problem with legal immigration. They have no problem with having more employees because they actually say that their job sites need the employees. What they don't want is to be W-2 employees that are paying into the system and then have employees that they're competing against that are not paying into the system, that are either 1099 or are getting paid in cash. So that's the big issue that they're facing in states like Iowa. And so I think we just need someone who can create a coherent solution to this multi-decade, multi-administration immigration problem. And I think as a Hispanic Republican, I'm in a unique position to do it.
Okay, but explain to us how you would do it, because up until now, we haven't been able to. Ronald Reagan, of course, was able to get through the amnesty program, but you look at what George Bush, Bush 43, tried to do. He couldn't get it done. Too much arguing and too much fighting. Give me the steps you would take that you think would be successful.
Yeah, it's a multi-pronged approach. The first is you've got to secure the border. What's happened under Joe Biden's border policy is destructive for America. You've got 80 to 90,000 Americans dying of fentanyl on an annual basis. And you've got a human trafficking crisis that's affecting cities all across America. This is the one thing that Democrat and Republican mayors are actually unified on. So you've got to secure the border, do whatever it takes, treat it as the crisis that it is, number one. Number two, you've got to take some of the resources that you're giving China. We're giving China $1 trillion in wealth on an annual basis in the form of our trade deficit and in the form of the IP that they steal from us every year. We've got to take that and create more prosperity in our hemisphere. That will reduce the pressure of immigration in countries all across our hemisphere. Before, we used to have just 3 countries that were creating the majority of our immigration, which was Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua. Now you have Brazil that's going left. You have Colombia that's going left. You have Argentina that's going left. You have Chile that's going left, Bolivia and Mexico as well. So that has to be undone. Third, you've got to nexus legal immigration to objective criteria like unemployment and the declining birth rate, something that we have in common with China, except nobody wants to go to China. Everybody wants to come here. It should be at some level merit-based and skill-based, based on the kind of jobs that we need in this country. And then number 4, I think as a Hispanic Republican, you're going to be in a unique position to sort of deal with the difficult debates of what do you do with all the undocumented that are here. I think the country is not ready for an amnesty or a legalization of those undocumented, maybe for them getting some sort of a legal status because they know that they cannot, there's no logistical means to get them out of the country. It's just, it's not possible.
Yeah, if they want to work and they're ready to work, then they should be paying into the system, and we should certainly facilitate getting them into that position. You are the 3rd Floridian to join the GOP race. Obviously, former President Trump. You have Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis in the battle with Disney. Former President Trump is under indictment for federal crimes. For our viewers who don't know what you are about, in a word, are you centrist Republican, center right, far right? Explain to us where you stand.
Where I stand is in favor of American prosperity. I've built an incredible ecosystem in my city where we're #1 in wage growth. We have the lowest unemployment in America, and we're #1 in tech job growth. That is a recipe for generational success in our country. I want to take that same recipe and I want to export it throughout the nation. One of the things that I've learned as I traveled the country is they want to see someone who's dynamic. They want to see someone who will unify the country. I think unity is a big issue and will be a big issue as this campaign unfolds because people feel angered with the division and the constant fighting. You just had your prior guest talking about the division in Congress and the inability to get things done. I was elected by 85% and reelected by 80% in a community that was +30 for Democrats the year before I got there, and is now +10 for Republicans based on my Republican policies.
Well, maybe some of those voters were pro-Bitcoin, and we've got to run, but you have been very pro-crypto. You've instituted a lot of rules and regulations that are actually helpful to that sector. Coming up, we've got Larry Fink of BlackRock. He and his company have filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF. How important is something like that? Because it doesn't exist just yet.
It's critical. I mean, we have to have regulations that support innovation. I mean, BlackRock it's a very sophisticated, multi-trillion-dollar assets under managed company. Larry's going to manage the ETF in a way that's appropriate, that's proper, that manages risks. And I think our government needs to have people like that want to get involved in Bitcoin. It's up, I think, 85% for the year. So it's an asset that's been incredibly resilient and in many ways has run counter to this increasing interest rate, increasing inflation environment and been somewhat of a hedge for people. So I think it's important. And I think not only his ETF, but I think all the ETFs, to the extent that they're being done responsibly, should be approved, and that there should be a legislative scheme that supports innovation, not stifles it.
Well,
like we're seeing now.
Mayor, you're certainly a very interesting and colorful candidate on so many levels. When it comes to where you stand as a Republican, we'll be watching your race. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Please come back.